Hello everybody, my name is Ryan. You won't have seen me on this channel Strong to Stronger before because I'm accompanying Alex in producing some content for this channel. So my first video is about why the fat-free mass index is a limited piece of information for screening for anabolic steroids. So this sort of concept of fat-free mass come from Curry, and currently we've got a bit of a problem, or it's come under quite a lot of discussion recently about the certain individuals that are claiming a natural status but are actually using drugs. So Lance Armstrong, it's like, I'm all natty bruh, but actually we know that he wasn't. So this piece of research is aimed at being able to identify certain drug users. And the way they did that was by creating an equation by taking people's body fat percentage, height and weight, and then if we stick all that into a formula, what we'll get out is a fat-free mass index score. And if this score exceeded 25, then it was a strong indicator that there was a person who achieved that score of 25 and above was a user of steroids. And the sample they took this from was 156 men from gyms like in America somewhere, and they also found some pre-steroid era Mr. America winners to sort of compare this fat-free mass index as like a normalized value of the maximum achievable amount of muscle someone can get naturally. So you'll see some other big YouTubers like Juggernaut Fitness TV and Vegan Gains. They use this fat-free mass index tool when they're talking about people who they think are or are not natural. So the first thing that's wrong with this study is that when someone measures body fat percentage, the FFMI equation, it's usually a bit off. So in the actual original study I'm talking about, they measured people's body fat percentage with a skin fold caliper. And here, a study by Beam and others in 2010 found that the mean percentage of body fat by all field methods except the 10-eater body fat percentage for men significantly underestimated their mean body fat percentage than by the DEXA. And for those who don't know, the DEXA is like the gold standard of sort of finding out someone's body fat percentage. So what happens when we do this is that if we're inaccurately underestimating people's body fat percentage, then we in turn assume someone has more lean mass. And if someone's got more lean mass, guess what that's going to do? Increase their fat-free mass index score. And also people use this fat-free mass index chart for people who are of higher body fat percentages. And there's a bit of an issue with that because what we have is a higher glycogen and water content, which counts as lean mass. So that brings the lean mass content or score up more. And then also we have a better retention of lean mass when somebody's got more body fat percent. Let's take, for example, a sumo wrestler. They could probably not use steroids and come well over 25 on their fat-free mass index score. So that's my first sort of critique of the study. You can take that either way, as saying that the fat-free mass index overestimates or underestimates the natural limit. Next, this is something that annoys me a bit with people online, particularly when they're looking at people's fat-free mass index scores, is that they use the regular score, which is this one here, instead of the adjusted fat-free mass index score. So the thing is, with the regular fat-free mass index score, it does not take into account the thickness and the width of a person. So the taller somebody is, the more actual chance they are of going to be able to score higher on the fat-free mass index because of their sort of thickness. So many people always use this one. As you can see with these stats here, what we'll actually come into is 25.5, which would be considered unnatural on the regular one. But when we adjust it for someone's height, what we actually get is it goes below 25. So some people are making wrong interpretations here of someone's true fat-free mass index. So the taller someone is, the more of a regular fat-free mass index score overestimates their person's true score. And the authors in the paper noted that the shorter people looked way more muscular than the taller people. So we've got a little example here of a short and a bit of a taller bodybuilder. So the short one looks quite a bit more muscular. And that's also something to take into account when you're looking at for screening for different steroid users, that the short people are going to look more sort of stocky is the word to use. Now, I wanted to sort of scrutinise some of the data about this. So this is straight out of the paper. What we've got is the normalised fat-free mass index on the y-axis, and then we've got the sort of each circle is an individual person, and we can see that the non-users are on the left and the steroid users are on the right. But actually, look how many steroid users that we've got that are under 25. So it's not always an actual definitive way of screening for anabolic steroids, because you can still easily be lower than 25. And then also, on the flip side of things, we look at the normalised fat-free mass index of the Mr. America winners I mentioned earlier. Look what we've got, 26.9, way over. Then we've got 27.3, even higher. 27.7, even higher. And it goes as high as 28. And to put things in perspective, to increase your fat-free mass index score by 1, you need about 7 to 8 pounds of lean mass. So these guys are having like 21 pounds of extra lean mass. And the way they said in the study that it was like an absolute limit of 25 is that they took the means of all the Mr. America winners, and that comes to about 25.4. But when you see certain outliers and a significant number of other bodybuilders from that age, we find that many of them exceed 25, and this is a time where steroids were not supposed to be sort of available in the gym. So we can see that actually it is kind of possible to go over 25 by quite a bit. And then to further back up this point, we're looking at someone's training and nutrition for these Mr. America winners, and also in commercial gyms. It's not always that good. Back when the Mr. America winners were analysed, they didn't have periodisation. And they didn't have as much an advancement of the training protocols and also the sort of gym equipment that we do nowadays. Also, nutrition research was limited, so relating to sort of caloric surpluses, protein intakes, and all of the stuff like that that's sort of relevant to somebody building muscle. And also the role of recovery was much less understood back in the 1950s. What does this result in? Well, this means that these Mr. America winners had a lower ability to maximise muscle protein synthesis and prevent muscle protein breakdown. And that's the key thing with building lean mass, is maximising your muscle protein synthesis and lowering your muscle protein breakdown until your net protein balance is as high as it can possibly be. Now, and also another criticism is that we have nowadays a much increased popularity of bodybuilding and general weight training. There's much more people in the gym now. And also this study only used a sample size of about 150 people. So we're not going to see as many sort of genetic outliers within the data that could easily come above 25 on the fat-free mass index. And then again, this leads to a greater pool with people with the genetic potential to exceed 25 on the fat-free mass index. And then if you combine these two things together, that means, well, actually, the chance of someone being drug-free and achieving 25 or more on the fat-free mass index is quite actually possible. So to wrap this all up, I've sort of drew my own little graphic here of the fat-free mass index score from 25 all the way up to 30. Anybody who's 30 or more, there's no chance in how they're natural. They're lying. And 25 up to sort of 27.5. It's more of a continuum. They could be natty. And then as we come closer to 30 on the fat-free mass index, they're going to be almost certainly enhanced. Without almost out of a shadow of a doubt, there might be that one anomaly, that 1 in a million person who just got the perfect genetics. But to sort of identify how possible it is for someone to be a user of anabolic steroids, we've got a number of other factors to take into consideration. So we've got training. What's the training been like? What's their nutrition also like? And then we've got recovery, which is also an important part of muscle building. And then we've got to take all those and see how many years or what sort of period of time have they actually applied all those sound principles. And then finally, we've got something out of our control, certain genetic traits that allow for greater amounts of muscle mass. It's like the myostatin protein, which is, sort of dictates how much muscle we can carry. So overall, sort of wrap this up, fat-free mass index isn't perfect. It can't be the only tool to screen someone to find out if they're a fake natty, which is what people only care about with this. So ideally what we want to use this is a sort of a starting point for an initial screen, and then if they sort of fall into that enhanced range of 25 plus, we also got to look at other characteristics of anabolic steroid use, which I may cover in a later video of sort of how to spot a fake natty, because I know that people love stuff like that. Well, I do anyway. But this does sort of link into here. How good is people's training, nutrition and recovery? If the training, nutrition and recovery isn't on point, but they easily go over 25, then it's sort of more of a giveaway that they're using drugs to compensate for this lack of muscle. And especially when you get very young people in the early 20s who are already exceeding this fat-free mass index of 25. Ideally, you'd be looking at people who are at their genetic peak of being about 30, training for a long time to be able to hit over this 25 fat-free mass index score. But that's pretty much it from me. Thank you if you've stayed till the end. I know it's been quite a long-winded video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.